All right, we are live on Out the Box Talks, Out the Box TV. Welcome to another show. You get a little sound effects in. All right. This is Cril, your host Cril of Out the Box Talks. As always, I have a special guest with me. Welcome to another edition. I want to say this is episode 35 because I just did an interview with Wordsworth and I've been kind of just keeping it going. And I got a sister here with me today that it's been a minute, man. I've been following her career for quite some time. I am so excited to finally have her here in the Out the Box studios, well, remotely, right?
You're always out the box.
What's up, Star? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm maintaining, trying to stay busy, but trying to stay healthy, right? It's
the balance.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Stay healthy, stay busy, stay focused.
Indeed.
Stay out of the way, stay in your lane.
Right.
Right.
So, it's a pleasure, an ultimate pleasure having you on the show. Like, for real.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
For real. I've been following your music since almost Neva Was.
Wow. Okay.
And I definitely want to talk to you about just the expansion of your career today. Now, I know you do have, like a maxi single out now with Crazy DJ Bazarro. Shout out Bazarro.
Yes. What's up, Baz?
Yeah. And I do want to talk about that, but I kind of want to go through the timeline of your career as best as I can.
Okay.
All right. So just starting out, for all of our listeners out there, also all our viewers, because this is streaming live on YouTube right now. Let the people know a little bit about how your journey to become a hip hop artist came to be. Like, where did the inspiration all begin?
Okay. So I've always been a writer since I was very young. I wrote my first published piece in the second grade. It was put in the school library. They had little books and you could go in the library and check the little book out. So I started out as a writer, maybe like 6, 7 years old. As far as being an MC, when I tapped into hip hop around maybe 11 years old, I didn't ever see myself as someone who could rap because no one around me rapped. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I loved Salt and Pepper and LL and the Fat Boys and Run DMC, but it wasn't personal for me because I didn't know that was something that I could do. If I'm explaining that correctly, because I wasn't around the culture outside of seeing it on TV or hearing the music on the radio. So
right.
It wasn't like I went outside and I could go to the corner and there was like a cypher or there was B-boys and B-girls in the park. I didn't get to see that growing up. So I do remember this one time at a birthday party for one of my friends, somebody had a Just Ice tape, a cassette, the one with the cartoon, and he had all the gold teeth, and I was just looking at the thing, just mesmerized. This girl's like, "Oh, you wouldn't know nothing about that. You just a girl from the suburbs. That's real rap. You wouldn't know nothing about that." And for whatever reason, that stuck with me my whole life.
Wow.
9th grade is when I wrote my first rhyme. No, maybe 10th grade. I was 15. And me and my best friend, we were in study hall, and she's like, we should rap. Because I love the music. I knew everybody's songs. I would even rap the songs, but then change. If I needed to change a pronoun or change a state or a city, I always did that. But still, in my mind, not making the connection that, hey, you can do this. You're an MC.
Wow.
You write, you're a poet, whatever. But when my best friend came and she spit her verse, and I was like, well, shoot, I can. She's like, I'll write. I said, no, you don't got to write for me. I'll write my own. And we had a notebook, and we would pass the notebook back. We were passing it back and forth, writing the verses. The next year, I went to a school, a different school, so I didn't have my partner. So I remember one day there were guys at the lunchroom table and they were freestyle, and I just thought it was so cool. But I couldn't freestyle, but I still thought it was really cool. And I started hanging out with them, and they would come over to my house after school. We would be sitting, on the steps. I'm like, well, if you rap, you got to be able to freestyle, or you're not a real MC, right?
Right.
So
Wow.
that's really on those stairs in front of my apartment in the 11th grade where I got challenged by them 3 MCs. It was one, man, it was like 3, yes. And then I became a part of this crew. And I worked so hard at Off the Top of the Dome. I mean, I'd be washing dishes in my head, rapping, and every opportunity I had to do it, I would do it. And I got really, really good. So, people would hype me up. Like every time we would go somewhere, like, yo, she can freestyle, she's crazy with it. So that's how that part started. It was something that I did that was fun, but the more people I got exposed to, people would always put me on the spot. Like, I'm in Dallas, Austin's Rowdy store in the underground Atlanta. They have an open mic. Yo, you need to go rhyme. Why don't you go spit some? Or, there'd be like a huge cipher and there were no other women. And I was minding my business, like, yo, shorty nice. Like, so that is, I just always had people who believed in me, even from the beginning Genesis stages, that were always hyping me up. And then I'm like, well, this is something I probably need to do. And then as far as like the music, putting music out here in Atlanta, I would say around 96, 97, I started going to more of the underground and independent artist shows. And the first show I went to that really, like, there was a catalyst, the Micronauts did a show. I remember on my birthday in 1996, I was driving and I heard this song called Forward. They were playing it on 89.3 in the middle of the day, and I drove to Earwax Records, rest in peace, Earwax.
Yeah, shout out to Earwax. Yeah.
At the time, across from the Cotton Club. See, I'm Atlanta underground hip hop history. So anybody that talks about the history of the scene here and doesn't talk to me or doesn't mention me, they are who they be. I was here and I helped build it. Earwax, and I went in there and I'm like, this is the song. I think the group is the Micronauts. I was like singing the song and the dude was like, oh, you mean this? And I still have that same cassette after a house fire and everything. I still have the tape, the same tape that I bought.
Wow.
Because it was in my car. And I went to their show and I was just vibing, and I Self Divine just put the mic in my face.
Shout out to I Self.
And I was like,
wow.
Because that was really my first time performing outside of being in a cipher or, just, rhyming on a bus or whatever. And he put me on the spot. And I went in and we became cool. That became like big bro. And he took me under his wing and,
That's
just giving me pointers. And he gave me my first legitimate big major feature on a release. I was on the Obelisk Movements album, and the Micronauts led to the Doom connection.
Wow.
I was performing at an album release for them. They got me to come up and freestyle at the end, and Doom was there. So that's how I met Doom.
Wow. Hold that thought, because I got to get to that. But yeah.
So my whole career has really been being in the right place at the right time, being myself, and having someone see or hear that and locking in with me. I've never shopped a demo. I never chased anybody down and begged them, to listen to me rap or any of that. I just was always myself, and everything came to me.
Wow.
So
that's dope.
From the beginning, or I was challenged. I was either challenged or I was somewhere being myself, and it happened.
Wow.
Did that bring us enough to where we are?
Oh, that's a whole lot. That's a whole lot. I wanted... that's a lot. That's a lot to start with, and I appreciate you.
Because a lot of people only know the Doom part.
Right.
Some of them are confused about the Doom part. Like, they don't know that's me on 3 different albums because the name was changed, even though it's the same voice. So, all my stuff overlaps.
Wow.
It's wild. Even the Chuck D thing. It's all, it all connects and it all overlaps.
Wow. Yeah, it reminds me of it just takes me back to the song on Almost Never Was, Grits, right? Yeah. Girl raised in the South. And it just kind of brings me back there when you talk about your history in underground Atlanta. Now, your music is very dense, and it displays a variety of intellect within your lyrics, right?
I really like that. It is dense.
Yeah, it's heavy.
It's like oh, yes, that is a perfect, I've never heard it described. That is perfect.
Yeah. I feel like when you came on the scene, it wasn't common to hear a female MC talk about things like spirituality or, you know, what we would consider conscious today or knowledge of self, right? What inspired you to display your, you know, these aspects of your knowledge in lyrical form like that?
The beauty of hip hop for me, more than anything else, is that a lot of my cultural awareness beyond what I was taught from home, I got from music. I remember hearing Brand Nubian. And the first time I heard Brand Nubian, you know, it was One for All. But then when they did that Wake Up, and I saw that video with the White Devil, because I saw the one with the White Devil before they edited it out. And I was watching Rap City, and I will never forget. I'm like, yo, they got a white devil. It's in the middle of the afternoon on MTV.
Right. Wow.
And they drop it. I didn't even know what they were talking about because I hadn't been exposed at that point. But I was so receptive. Even like the first time I heard Rakim, the same. I mean, my mom liked Rakim, and she couldn't stand rap music. She liked Rakim. So that's the power of someone dropping science, dropping jewels, and even if you don't know what they're saying specifically, you know that it applies to you. So from Brand Nubian to X-Clan to Public Enemy, Queen Latifah, KRS-One, I got so much the native tongues. That is what I beeline to initially, because I had right around the time I started rhyming, I had read Malcolm X's autobiography. So reading that, the veil is starting to be lifted. You know, we taking the you know, we opening the lid on the third eye.
What age were you when you like read the autobiography? Because I actually read it when I was in college. I probably was about
when I was 14 or 15 years old.
Wow, so you definitely.
I was in the school library, and look, even with him, like the parallels of our lives, like I was raised Seventh-day Adventist. His mother was a Seventh-day Adventist. You know what I mean?
Me too, my family, yep.
I grew up around white people in the suburbs. I'm not gonna hold you. You know, and so I identify with him so much because when you grow up around white people and that's all you're around outside of your family, you know, when you're a little kid, everybody's cool and we're all the same. But as you start getting older and you have what I call your nigga moment, and you like, ooh,
wake up.
You start going to like middle school and puberty and all that, and you realize, oh yeah, you're black.
Wow.
Just in case you weren't aware.
Right.
But around that time, I just knew something. I knew something was missing. But when I read that autobiography, 14, 15 years old, I connected with everything. Everything in it. That was like my hero.
Wow.
Like I had surgery on his birthday type of thing. Like I will never forget. On his birthday, I had a major surgery. I had major back surgery.
Wow.
In 1992. And my son was born on the day, my baby was born on the day that he was assassinated.
Wow. So that's definitely a connection. Wow.
Yeah. So, but that did it for me. And then when I was hearing that in the music, it was over.
Wow.
I mean, like.
I didn't know that. You know, you hear things when you interview artists. I didn't know that Brand Nubian had that influence on you.
Oh my God, Brand Nubian. And just the fact that like I know Sadat now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, I grew up like, I remember my god sister, I would go to Chicago over the summer and my god sister played the Ultramagnetic MC's album, The one with Raise It Up on it. I don't know why. Is that the Four Horsemen? Yeah, that was the four. I think that was on the Four Horsemen album. And then she played All for One, and I think she played DJ Quick. So when we would go out in her car, those would be the three. I know we like that mix, right?
Right.
DJ Quick, Ultramagnetic MCs, and Brand Nubian. But when she would put on, that was it.
Wow.
And we would just drive around all day listening. So, yeah, Brand Nubian really cracked my head open.
Wow.
It really did.
When I
saw that White Devil, I was just like, yo, that was, and I mean, it's edited out. You know, they edited it out later, but I saw that and I just was just. That
blew your mind. Wow.
Because I was, you know, going through a thing. You know, I was raised Seventh-day Adventist, but even from a child, I never latched on. I mean, I remember being very young and sitting in church like, this is off. I mean, like 5 years old, where no one ever had this conversation with me to tell me anything, but something didn't mesh.
Right.
So I was always looking for something from that. I mean, I just remember that. I remember because my mother converted. She converted to Seventh-day Adventist when I was 4. So I remember I used to have to go to those, the conferences, and when you would travel and like go to the, man, it just was a lot. It was a lot. Like I remember like when people would have, would start speaking in tongues in church, and I would be like, why everybody that walks up there does the same thing? What are those people doing?
Yeah.
I was always questioning stuff.
It reminds me of myself because my family grew up Seventh-day Adventist too, and I was always questioning myself too. So, wow.
But I mean, we're that first wave of indigo children though. You know what I'm saying? Those of us that were born in the 70s, we're that first. Like we were supposed to be the ones that got it, but then they always send something when they know that a generation, they get every generation.
Wow.
Like if you look at it, they send something. For us, our parents, they sent heroin. In the 80s, they sent crack. In the 90s, it was blunts. In the 2000s, it was the Molly and all of that. Now it's the lean and the perks and all. They always send something when those souls come, because they know that they're coming. So they have to throw something in there to take them off course.
Isn't it crazy how you can break it down like that? That's interesting.
I mean, but it's real because some would even say that hip hop was created to take us off course.
Wow.
But we took that. I feel we took that and we flipped it. I mean, some of it does, but I mean, I think for more than not, for me, hip hop has had a really positive impact on my life. But I've also, studied and dealt with a lot of things. Like I'm from the South, and that always throws people off. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, born and raised, never fronted about it. Never said I was from anywhere else.
You sound like you was raised out here in New York. Like when I everything about you, and I'm not trying to make you what you're not, but like I just like when I hear you, I'm like, yo, that's why I had to ask you, like, what's your roots? Because
heavily influenced.
Word.
Give it up. Always give it up. I am so heavily East Coast influenced.
I could see that.
I mean, it is ridiculous. Like most of the MCs that I was influenced by are from Brooklyn or Queens.
Right.
Most of my friends and boyfriends over the last 25 to 30 years have been New Yorkers.
Wow.
So I just got
Tim boots and hoodies.
I mean, they were like, "You're ours. We're taking you." What did like people say? You hope up from your borough because of third borough. You want me? But I just, I always had like a non-regional kind of a flat. I never had a southern draw. I talk really fast. Like I've always talked fast since I was a child. I'm like, I got a lot of stuff to say. I got to get it out. So I think that's number one. I speak very fast, and typically, I guess the stereotype of Southerners is that we all talk like this. We're real slow, and we got this drawl. Or, hey, shout, you know what I'm saying? Like I never had that. I was always corrected if I used improper or broken English. Like my mother was, a teacher, and then she ended up going on to law school. So I wasn't allowed to say the eights and the gunners and the this and the that. So I always had to speak very properly and enunciate, which is something that helps me a lot as an MC. So thank you, Mom.
Dope. It's good when you can put it to good use.
I just, you know, I was always, and then I absorbed. Like when I become involved in something, I totally absorb it. I absorb it like a sponge, and then I'm like, okay, boom. I take what I need, I make it mine, and whatever doesn't work. But even if another thing too, I used to do imitations when I was younger too. I would always like mimic or take people's, you know, accent or the, you know, what they look, and I would talk to them like them to see if they would notice. And nobody would ever say anything. So that's kind of like my little gift of speaking in tongues. Like I used to, you know, I was in drama, like in the drama club in like, you know, 5th and 6th grade. So I had this character. Her name was Jackie Kowalski. And that was probably my first Jackie Kowalski. And that was her. And I don't know where she came from, but that was her. But yeah, I always give it up. You know, my influence is heavily East Coast.
Definitely. So, you can definitely hear it. When I first heard of you, I gotta say you went by a different name. Well, slightly different name.
Yeah.
StaHHr the F.E.M.C.E.E., right?
Name that I went by. But I got an explanation for that too.
Yeah. That's what I wanted to ask. Like, what inspired the name to begin with, and then what led you to actually dropping the F.E.M.C.E.E. part of the name?
Okay, so actually my first rap name was Hyper because I couldn't think of anything better. But again, Hyper, like, because I knew everybody's lyrics. So like I was the hype woman. So I was HYPAH. So that was my first rap name. Big up to my first crew I was in, Bad Blood.
All right.
And I was Hyper. But then I was like, well, dang, I don't want to be known as no hype. Because, you know, hype is a crackhead in certain areas or a drug addict. So I'm like, I probably don't want my name to be hype. So again, just like when I heard Brand New being in those groups and I read Malcolm X's autobiography, when I started rhyming, I was a tomboy. So that I dressed like a tomboy rather, because I really was very prissy. But because I was always around men, I wanted to downplay my shape and things like that so I could be comfortable around all those guys. So I wore my big, huge, baggy, big shirts, big pants, my Timberlands, so I could blend in. Of course, that never works because when you dress like that, men know you hiding something. So that typically gets you actually more attention. I found that out the hard way.
Wow.
Because they can't see it, so they want to see it.
Right.
So around the time I changed my name to StaHHr, which was in '96, I went through another spiritual awakening. I started studying with the Holy Tabernacle, HTM, Dr. York. And they used to really get on me about how I was dressed like a dude.
Really?
And
okay.
they were like, you a goddess, sister, and you need to tap into that divine feminine power. And, and I did. Like, I started, wearing dresses and stuff again and skirts and, just mixing it up and really getting in touch with that and becoming comfortable with my femininity. So the FEMCEE was about that. StaHHr, I'm like, well, I wanted a name that would be easy for people to remember, but also exemplify me. Well, what's a star? What do people use stars for? They guide you, they bring light. So I'm like, that's easy. I could be StaHHr. And then I'll put the 2 H's in there for hip hop, right? And then I was like, in the FEMCEE, because feminine energy, mastering creativity to elevate eternal. And then it became this whole big ugly thing where women were FEMCEEs now, and it's all my fault, and they tried to blame me, and people was taking shots at me in interviews and shit. So
you started the whole FEMCEE thing.
I actually wrote a song. I did a freestyle about it over Lauryn Hill's Lost Ones. It's on Respect Due. So
okay.
I give a little mini synopsis of my whole story.
Right. Wow.
So if anybody wants to get the little bullet points on the Respect Due Lost Ones. So that is actually how that happened. That's all it meant. It was just supposed to be an honorary title for me, like when KRS-One did the MC, the FEMCEE. That was it. But it got taken out of it got taken out of context. Because I mean, I'm an MC, period.
Word. And I gotta say, and this is just my perspective looking in. I can't say I can speak for every man on this, but when I heard the title, it didn't bother me. I never saw it as a title that would marginalize you even more, like and categorize you anymore, which is how I felt like some people saw it.
Right.
But as a man, I would say I'm not in a position to really critique. I'm not gonna go critique how females feel like they're being portrayed.
Not mansplain. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I hate when you mansplain.
Right. So, I never had a problem with it. But I was also open to the challenges that certain individuals will have with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because, and even I didn't recall ever hearing the term, but then someone's like, Rakim refers to some of these MCs, they should just be FEMCEE.
Oh, shoot. I didn't hear that one.
I didn't even remember that.
Oh, shoot.
So
yeah.
It became a thing where, if you're a doctor, you're not a female doctor, you're just a doctor. There's so many different ways to look at it. Because I think when it becomes about you being a woman only and not about you being an MC, then that takes away, from what's important. I mean, I relish and revel in being a woman. I absolutely love it.
Indeed.
That is actually it's actually advantageous, and it gives me a lot more power being a woman in hip hop. There's like 15 men and just me. People are probably going to want to hear what I have to say over those 15 men because it's a different perspective.
That's an interesting point.
You got to kind of look at the ways that it could work. Is it going to be a glass half full or glass half empty?
Right.
Type of situation.
When did Almost Never Was come out? I just want to get the exact date because I feel like there was like some different releases around that album, your debut album. Like I feel like it showed up on iTunes probably in 2008, but I feel like it was floating around before that. Like when did it actually come out? Okay,
so actually the first step was me doing the single deal with the now defunct Subverse Music, where I did a maxi single, Rhyme Fluid, which had 4 songs on it: Beautiful Experience, Grits, Wisdom, and Rhyme Fluid. Mm-hmm. So I put those 4 songs with like maybe 7 or 8 more songs that I had done up to that point that I had, picked out, because I just knew that I needed to put something out. I had done a ton of features at that point, and I was ready to get the music out. I'm gonna still say it was around, because JR, Beat Vision put it out in 2008. Mm-hmm. I know specifically I did it after my son was born. He was born in 2007. So 2008 was the original release date for Almost Never Was. But some of those songs had been out since like 2002 because that's when the vinyl came out. So that's probably, if you had heard, because Rhyme Fluid, back when there was CMJ, Rhyme Fluid was one of those records that had charted on CMJ for several weeks. So that's, I would say that's what it is. But the album, actually, I put it together after I had my son. So it was like 2008.
Yeah, that was like the first track on the album too.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. One of the things that definitely caught my attention when I saw that album was the cover artwork and the red, gold, and green theme that you had going on. Tell me a little bit about and it was a pretty powerful theme. Tell me a little bit about how you came up with the artwork. And go ahead with that.
So during that time, with the school, I'm a student. I'm always learning. So, and that goes for spirituality, religion, whatever you want to call it, the occult, metaphysics. At that point, the school that I was in was the Rastafari, specifically Nyabingi school.
So it makes sense.
That caricature was actually a picture of me that the artist Goldie Gold, my brother Goldie.
Oh, shout out to Goldie, yeah. ATL.
Goldie made the caricature, and I think at first it was a red, black, and green flag, and I'm like, "Ooh, Goldie, can you do like a red, gold, and green?" Or maybe it was, he had the red on top, but it's supposed to be green on top for Nyabingi because we have the Ethiopian flag.
Okay.
And that's a whole lot of extra details, but I'm just trying to So that's how that happened. And I thought it was so dope and so striking that I wanted that to be the cover because that represented fully who I was. Almost Never Was, because y'all almost didn't get that album. This Almost Never Was. But my baby, I had my son, and I was like, yo, I got to do this because I wasted a lot of time before I had him, you know, with music, just getting caught up in other things. So that was the Almost Never Was, because it almost never was. And that's where that came from. During that time, and people that were here know that, I mean, I wore skirts and dresses only. My hair was usually always covered because that was part of my liberty. That's what I was living. So again, I say how I absorb anything I deal with, I become it 100%.
Wow.
And when time is up, when it's time for me to move on, or when I've gotten what I need to get, then
next stage. Got it.
I what they say, talk about it, but I live it. I've lived everything I talk about.
Wow. And it makes so much sense because you hear it in the music. Like I said, the music is dense. It's a lot going on. And now that you're actually explaining this, it's making more sense as to why your music is like that.
Because woke is really trendy now. Like there's a lot of people who are, getting off of the look.
Right.
There's really no substance to the music. I mean, I performed at SOBs in 2002 in a full crocheted skirt that I made by hand.
Wow.
With Tim's under it. In New York City, Halloween 2002, the day after Jam Master Jay had been murdered. Packed house, SOBs. That's how I came out. With my incense.
Right.
With my incense, because that's how I lived.
Right.
That wasn't for the show.
Yeah.
Was what I did. Like I would be in the club burning incense all the time. Like Stars here, we smell the incense.
Wow.
But of course now we got to give it up to our mother, Erykah Badu.
Okay.
She made that acceptable.
Okay.
To a large degree.
Yeah, to a larger degree, yeah.
And she definitely, you mean I can go outside and do this? Word.
People felt more comfortable. Yeah.
I mean, when you see it, it does make it, you gotta see it. Representation matters. I know that there's always someone like, yo, sis, when you said this, and I can really relate to that because I went through that and I never heard anybody. People need to see that.
Yeah.
Women need to see that you can present yourself in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be A or B. You got A through Z.
Wow.
Because we really, it's like a duality. You're either this or you're that on the mainstream level.
Yeah. We were talking about MF Doom earlier. I kind of want to bring it back to that. You showed up on at least 3 of MF Doom's albums, which I could be mistaken, but I don't know if there's an artist that has showed up like that often in his album catalog.
There isn't.
Like when I think about it, you're on King Ghidorah's Next Level with JR. You're on Food.
Then Stacey Epps. Yep.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Stacey Epps is on that track.
Chorus.
Yeah. You're on Food with as Angelica in 4 Eyes. I want to talk to you about that Angelica name too.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
My own song.
And of course, Still Dope, which also appeared on Almost Never Was. But
I had to, because I didn't see. Here's the thing with Doom: you can do a song and it may be like 6 years, 5 years,
right,
to come out. And at that point, I'm like, this is my song. I'm putting it out.
Yeah.
Renegade.
So it was supposed to be. It was supposed to originally be on a Doom record.
Huh?
Still Dope was supposed to originally be on a Doom project.
It was, yes, and it.
Wow.
But Born Like This didn't come out until 2000.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
And again, when you do all the work I did for Doom is a work for hire. So once you do it and you get paid, that's his song.
Right. Tell me about.
He can do with it. He can put it out when he wants to, or never put it out. I got paid. I got my writer's credits. I get my royalties.
Right. You moved with it. Wow. It's crazy because I'm like, I was about to ask you what made Doom want to put this record that came out. I think it came out a few years before.
I wrote and recorded Still Dope in 2004.
Wow.
Right. I wrote it on a tour bus. He was on tour. I was on tour with him when he was opening for Talib Kweli on the Beautiful Struggle tour.
Okay.
I wrote that song in the middle of the desert, driving from Las Vegas back cross country. Like he had the big room, like on the tour bus had a big room in the back. So the bunks were like, you had the front, the kitchen area, couches, whatever, the bathrooms, the bunks, and then you have like a back, like a den type of thing. But that was his room. We all had bunks. So he's like, yo, Star, come, we went, we rolled up, we smoked our little split, whatever. And he's like, so I'm giving you these beat CDs. And like some of them were Mad Lib beats.
Wow.
Some of them were his beats. Like I don't know where it is. I got like a
so you got tracks over Mad Lib beats?
I have Mad Lib beats.
Okay.
Okay. But they're on a CD somewhere.
Okay.
Mad Lib does beat CDs. It's like 100 songs.
Yeah, that's true.
And it could be, some of them are a minute long, some of them are 55 seconds, some of them are 2 minutes. So I have the CD in here somewhere. It's in a red case. I just, from moving, I don't know where it is.
Okay.
But the actual beat that I picked, it wasn't the one that I picked. It was a Doom beat.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I have to. I mean,
how did you meet Doom again? Like I'm not sure if you said that earlier.
I did say I met him at MJQ in like 2000. Yeah, it might have been early 2001, but I think it was 2000. The Micronauts did. They had a
you did say Micronauts. Yeah,
or like a show. He was there and he heard me rhyme, and then how we connected a year later, 2001, after I had signed to Subverse, we did a Subverse music artist panel showcase at Club Kaya out here, also no longer here, Club Kaya on Peachtree, with all the Subverse artists, and he was there. So I performed, and I remember JR came and got me after the show. Was like, yo, somebody wants to talk to you. Doom was backstage. He's like, yo, you're really dope. I want to work with you. Let me get your contact information. He called me like a week or two later, and I was over there in the studio writing and recording my verse for the next level. So it went quickly.
I can't remember the article. I swear I was looking for it today. I could not find it, Star.
He was talking about me?
Yeah, he was talking like really highly of you, but I wanted to get the actual quote. Maybe you can help me with that.
He said that these other dudes are right, but Star, she's just as ill as me. That's the only one I'll give that to. She's like a female version of me.
That's what it was, because I knew it was like something impactful he said about you.
That was pretty epic. I gotta tell you, I was like, wow. What is it about these people from Long Island? First, now Chuck D. Like, what's going on?
Star, you got it.
I thought it was Brooklyn this whole time, but I think
word, it's Long Island for real.
It's Long Island for real.
Wow. What would you if you had to think, like what was something like hilarious that you a hilarious experience you had from Doom, or something that you learned from him that gave like insight to your success?
Something that he dropped on me that I will always carry with me. He was like, don't ever date your music. Like when you rap, don't ever say the year. Don't ever say the year in the song. And that stuck.
Dope.
He said, don't date your music. Don't ever say the year in any of your rhymes. He also was like, you are a writer. You should be able to write about anything. Even if it's something that you don't personally do. If you're a storyteller, you should be able to take on any, because I think it was a song, it was a subject matter, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable writing about it. He said, then you're not a real writer. Like, wow. He's like, you're not. You gotta be able to step outside of yourself. That's why he has all the different personalities.
Yeah.
That was what Angelica was supposed to be. She was my metal face personality. So Angelica was gonna say all the things that Star didn't say. But now Star has evolved into Barbarella, so it's still.
Oh, that's another name. Okay, I know the Barbarella track, but I didn't realize that that's an alter ego now.
Barbarella is, another, that's another level. Dope. Because as I grow as an artist, I shed things, I pick things up, I'm refining myself, and the way I write now is not the same as how I wrote it 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But that was something that he said, just if you gotta create other personalities and say stuff that you need to say, do it. You're a writer. You have artistic license. There's nothing that should be off limits to you to write about.
Right,
and
right.
he's right. Because some of my favorite MCs are storytelling writers.
Yeah.
Because I mean, but people, the thing about hip hop, the thing about rap is that whenever you say, people think that's exactly what it is. Rappers are the only ones who are like not allowed to talk about something from like a third person
right.
type of, whatever, from different perspective. Am I using that right?
No, I got you. Yeah.
And it sucks because then there's a thin line, like, well, you saying that you did something but you didn't do, but if it's another personality, we're very hard on MCs. We're very tough on them. We're very hard on them. I'm not saying that people should front, but I think as a writer, if you want to write a story, you should be able to write a story.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree with that.
I'm a writer first. I'm a writer.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be, well, I can't write about this because I never, directly experienced it. I mean, I never been in a war either, but if I wrote a rhyme and I talked about war, that,
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's like we kind of get really like Amelia Bedelia about certain things.
Right. I that makes so much sense, like that piece of insight that he gave you, because it represents what he's known for, so that's dope.
Yeah, he gave me the keys to the cups.
Nice pun. Wow.
Yeah, I listen. I mean, I probably have one of the longest relationships with him out of any of the people that he has worked with. I mean, because a lot of people, Doom will like leave you alone and then come back. And some people he never comes back to. He kept coming back to me. I mean, there was a gap where I didn't talk to Doom for 7 years. And during that time, that's when I put my own music out. Because what else was I supposed to do? Sit around and wait for him?
Right. Yeah, you've always been, even though you don't have a lot of like full-length projects out, like you've always been busy. I feel like...
Yeah, the features.
Yeah, the features have kept you, yeah. And you're visible too, like you make sure that you're out there, like, you're still, people still see you. So I could definitely dig that. Yeah. How's your relationship with him now? I mean, are you still in communication with him?
Who?
Doom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I am. I mean, in a non-traditional way, because really I speak more to his wife than I speak to him.
Okay.
But he's always really been like that. He's a man of few words.
Wow. He's my favorite MC, by the way, of all time.
He is 100% like the character. I mean, he just really is like this genius, this misunderstood genius that he's so freaking smart. Like the last time I saw him, he was making, like orgone pyramids. We were talking about putting the iodine in the shea butter to use for sunblock. Like he's listening to Dr. Jewel Pookrum and Bobby Hemmett, and he's brilliant. You know what I mean? And that's stuff that I'm into too. So aside from being MCs, another connection that Doom and I had was because, he was an Ansar. Him and Sub Rock were Ansars, in the Peach Flush video where they have the white jalabiyas on, and they were out there with the books and, Tablika people. I mean, that was them living in the Ansar community. And the fact that they represented in that video like that was powerful. Like, I mean, they had the scrolls. They had scrolls in the video. Now, when I was little and I was watching Peach Fuzz, I didn't know who Dr. York was. I didn't know what an Ansar was, right? So here goes those connections again. But when I started going through my quest, there were people all around me. Like I went to school with like a Mookminoon, that's a child who grew up in the tab.
Right.
I did. His locker was right next to mine. The end of the school year one year, he's like, "Hey, you want these books?" He gave me a bunch of old Ansar scrolls. I didn't even look at the books. I put them in the basement. And when I started studying, I will never forget, I went into the basement and I'm like, holy crap. This dude gave me all of these Ansar scrolls, and I had no idea that I had them. But now this is what I'm studying. This was at a mall one day, and a man sold me like a blue Book of Revelations. He was just telling me like, sister, did you know that black people are the first people on the planet? And, and he was just breaking it. I was like, word. He told me about the Crystal City and all this. And I was just like, that was like the most amazing thing I had ever heard. And it was in that same time, right around the time I had read the Malcolm X autobiography. So I was open.
Wow.
But I didn't put the pieces together until I started studying in this past. That I had people around me had given me the pieces. So when Doom found out that we went to the last class that Dr. York did before they came and raided the land in Eatonton. Me and Doom and Hassan Chop. And I think Four Eyes went with us.
Is that the same Four Eyes that's on, like, Four Eyes from Ultra Beats? Is that the same Four Eyes from Ultra Beats?
Yeah, he's also on.
He's the one, that's on that record. Yeah.
Yeah, he helped me write the chorus.
Shout out to Four Eyes,
because I really sucked at choruses back then. I've gotten a lot better, but that was also my way of including a friend of mine and somebody who was a talented artist that I wanted to have that level of exposure, because I knew that the record was going to be on a Doom album. I knew that.
Wow.
So I wanted to bring somebody with me. So that was another thing, because we connected there. I think he probably loved that even more than the fact that I rhymed, like that I knew about the information.
Right.
So yeah. That's I'm sitting up here like, dang, Maxi really is.
That's a while back too when you think about it, right? Yeah.
But just the connection.
The connection,
2003.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been like the closest 20 years. But just how it all connects. So nothing for me is ever coincidental. I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah.
Because my life is a testament of how interconnected and deliberate things are, but it's just about the timing.
Yeah.
If you can trust the timing of your life, it all, even the whole connection with New York and all of that. There's a reason why people from New York were drawn to me, because they were supposed to be, so that I would have the platform that I have.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because even living here, I met a lot of people from, Dungeon Family. I saw them coming up, and even though they knew that I rhymed, I just, I never got pulled into that. It was always love, but I never got pulled into that. The East Coast, the people from New York, New Jersey, Philly, that was always who pulled.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
You gotta go where the love is. Not to say that I didn't have love here, but I'm just saying I got like inundated, like just showered with love.
Right.
So.
Wow. You released your second album and your most updated full length, right? Mother Nature with a Molotov. I think it was like sometime in 2012.
Yes.
Right.
April 23rd, I believe, 2000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things I remember is that you were one of the first hip hop artists that I recognized going the fully independent route. And this is what I mean by this. Before, I didn't really see a lot of artists releasing music on Bandcamp just themselves. Like they were always kind of like connected. They might've been connected to like an independent label. But I just remember like, to get this album, you had to purchase it directly from you on Bandcamp, but I don't remember you being attached to a label.
No, I wasn't, not at that time. I mean, that Mother Nature with a Molotov was a labor of love. I did everything. I paid for everything on my own, the artwork. I mean, I did everything, by no label backing. I mean, I had support, and definitely got some love, family, homie prices. But
you broke up a little bit.
I paid.
Say it again. You broke up a little bit.
I did everything in terms of finances. I financed everything myself. Ooh, is it? Can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, I hear you. You just broke up for a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and that that was a lot. I mean, I'm proud of myself for doing it because that really was my labor of love. I mean, I did everything, the arrangement, everything. Even picked the movie that I wanted the sound by. I mean, that's my baby.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. I was like, what inspired that solo business move, right? Because like Like I was saying, like nowadays people put out music and they might record it maybe overnight and then it goes up online. They don't have to worry about no label. They put it out. But I feel like you were doing that 2012, although it wasn't that long ago, it's still, a lot has changed in terms of how we get music. Like, I don't even think streaming was as big as it was at that time, but you already seem to be like ahead of the curve. Like, what inspired those kinds of like business mindsets for you?
I just didn't
Like,
want to
so
wait on anybody else. I mean, I didn't want to have to go like run into some label and like, oh, can you guys put my album out? I hate asking people for shit. That's why. I've learned to ask for help a lot more now. But back then I was like, man, I ain't waiting. I'm gonna
do my own thing. Yeah.
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 But a team is very important for an independent artist. That's what I learned from Mother Nature with a Molotov. You need a team. Or you need to know how to do everything well by yourself. And I mean from the Photoshop to, you know, shooting your own videos. And I don't have all of those skill sets. So that, you know, makes it a little bit more difficult when you can't do it for yourself and then you have to outsource and get other people because then you have to wait on people. That's the worst thing, having to wait on somebody else.
Yeah.
You know.
I dig that.
Yeah.
There's a interlude on that album. In fact, that album is made up of a lot of different skits where, well, I won't say skits, but like interludes where you have certain artists kind of bigging you up and encouraging you, right? Which is so dope. But there's one that features, I believe, A.A. Rashid.
Yes.
And he says, the world is a safer place because you're here.
Right.
You know, real talk. He says he appreciates you. His daughter appreciates you.
Yes.
All the daughters of the world appreciate you and their sons, right?
Yes.
In terms of your music and how it has inspired other women or other girls, what's some of the most rewarding feedback you've gotten as far as like your impact on, you know, other women or maybe sisters out there? Like
when a mother can come to me and say, my daughter can actually listen to you, and even if you do cuss sometimes, it's still okay because the content that you have overrides all of that. You know, that she can see that there is another, you can be a woman that rhymes and you can have natural hair. You can be a woman that rhymes and you can talk about, you know, these things. You can, you know, just again, like I said, not being A or B, being something different. I mean, a lot of people say that I can play my music for your children, for my children. And even if you do cuss, I don't mind that because of the content.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I don't really hear much cursing and like I don't really hear much profanity.
I mean, there's a couple. I went through a phase where I didn't cuss at all. I didn't cuss at all. I mean, I cussed in my personal life. I mean, here's my thing, because I studied etymology. The only real cuss word as far as etymology is concerned is damn. Everything else, you break down the etymology, it is what it is. But again, programming, and with our people specifically, programming really does a number on us. Because I can take all them cuss words and show you something positive in them. But damn is the one.
Wow.
That's the only one that you can actually damn somebody. You can harm them. But yeah, that's, or having like little girls that rhyme and they're like, well, I want to rhyme and you inspired me to rhyme, type of thing. Like there's a young lady right now, she's on Instagram. Her name is Fly Zaya. She's 8 years old. I think she's in Virginia, and she is just so amazing.
Wow.
And you know, she understands the pocket. You know, when you rap, she knows where her pocket is. So when she's rhyming, she's in her little 8-year-old pocket, and she's doing better than a lot of grown adults that I know that are professional artists. That's the dope part, being able to see, or seeing younger sisters that are coming up that are dope and have potential, and are doing their own thing. Like there's a sister out of Chicago named Kia Abdul, and I think that she is just amazing. There's this sister in Savannah named Geechee Eris, same way. Brittany Carter's also in Chicago, just really, really dope. They have their own style. You know, they're doing their own thing, and it's something that's different. Like they're not trying to be like what the mainstream is showing them that they have to be. That's what I love, because I know coming up for me, I always wanted like a big sister in hip hop. I always had the big brothers. I have one now, but I kind of feel like I was that big sister for a lot of women that came after me, because I understood the importance of having a woman that has the experience of going through this industry and doing this thing. We have a lot of different challenges that we face that men don't necessarily.
Right.
You know, and I would have really loved to have had that big sister at certain occasions. You know, I would meet people, but it would be like a fleeting thing. But like the relationship I had with Doom, to have that with a woman that was like an OG MC, to me would have, I feel like, really helped me excel in a different kind of way. So yeah. I feel
No,
like
that was great. That was great.
But yeah, I am all for women in hip hop. Completely. I am very supportive of women, and I don't think that there is any woman that supports women in hip hop more than I do. I will go on the record saying that. And I have a track record of that. So I think sometimes women feel intimidated by each other because they are used to being the only woman that rhymes around. So when they get around other women that rhyme, sometimes that can shake some people.
Yeah.
You know, because most of us are used to being the one. So when the ones get together, you know, everybody doesn't handle that well. Most people do.
Yeah.
But there's always somebody that's going to be a little shaky because they used to being the one, getting all the attention for being the one. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's very interesting because women are very competitive. Women that rhyme, and I don't care what they say, I ain't competing against nobody but myself. No, we're competitive, and it's because I think that they don't want to let there be more than one woman. So there's almost, even if it's a subconscious thing, the level of competition is so fierce within women that rhyme because first of all, we do have to work harder to even be acknowledged.
That's true.
And listened to. We've got to be like 100 times better than the wackest dude. And sometimes people still don't want to give you your credit and your respect.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I had to say that. I did, because I definitely, and maybe it's a generational thing. I mean, the women I came up with directly, like my peers, because just because you rhyme and you're a woman doesn't make you my peer. I mean, the women who, when I was out in 2002 and 99 and 2000, those same women, the Yejidays and the Prees and the Heroines and the Ty Phoenixes, you know, the ones that were around back then, those were my peer group, the women who were out when I was out. I don't remember there being a whole lot of competitiveness. I think that with this resurgence of this new crop of women that came up over the last decade, they really pit them. It's either this one or that one, this one or that one.
Yeah.
When there's so many different lanes that there's room for all of us, and no one should feel the need to have to malign someone else for a spotlight, because there's so many spotlights and so many lanes.
Yeah,
women are competitive, no matter what they say.
Yeah.
Stop lying, sis. You know you're competitive. It's okay.
I was definitely gonna ask.
I'm competitive. I mean, like, so.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Who doesn't want to be number one?
Right. But I gotta say, you're absolutely right. Like, what I admire about you is that camaraderie that you share with other sisters in hip hop, particularly the Kill Bill 3 track that you did with as you were saying, Ty Phoenix and Queen Heroine. Like, I could just see, like, from the video that you guys did, I could see just how natural and how easygoing the vibe was.
Yeah, we're really friends in real life. Like, we're really,
what it is,
we really love each other. Like, that's, like, it's real. And so you can't fake that. So that's my thing. Again, anything can be made into a gimmick. Like I was talking about the whole woke thing. Anybody can put that costume and that face and say those, you know, magic words. But when it is real and when it is authentic, you can feel. Just like when it's fake, you can feel and you can tell. Because there's a lot of people who talk about sisterhood and God is this and God is that, and you know, but do they live it? Is that what they're practicing and applying in their real life? Because I mean, it's cool now to be a goddess, and it's cool to talk about sisterhood and empowerment, because that's what's cool right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not, and again, you would hope that people are doing and saying these things sincerely, but this is also the entertainment business.
Right.
And people have images, and sometimes our images are not who we are in real life, you know?
Word.
But
you know,
yeah,
so
as far as that, yeah, that's, you couldn't fake that, and it couldn't have been done with any other three people. It had to be the three of us, because no one else would have gotten on that song and did what we did.
You see, that what I wanted to ask you was, like, in the midst of all the competitiveness that you say that does exist between women in hip hop, right? How were y'all able to make that connection and make it be so easygoing beyond the competitiveness? Like,
well, again, we all brought our A game, but the goal and the purpose of the song was bigger than anyone's individual agenda. The purpose of the song was to kill Bill. The purpose of the song was for people who have been forgotten, or people want to act like they don't have a legacy, or because they haven't put out a song in, you know, 5 years or 3 months or however long people's attention spans are. Like, think about the movie Kill Bill. They thought they killed Beatrix Kiddo and they left her for dead. And that whole movie was about revenge, retribution. So, you know what I mean? You're not dead yet.
Collectively came together.
We came together to kill Bill. You know, we came together to kill Bill. So yeah, and that's, let me just try to clarify. Being competitive is not a bad thing either. I hate when people say, "Oh, I'm not competitive." Yes, you are, because this is a sport. It's a mental sport.
Right.
MCing is one of the most competitive. Why do you think people battle? You think they battle so they not battling to win? Have you been to a battle? People say the most horrible things you can think of to win. That is the definition of competition.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, y'all didn't play sports. Who runs track? Well, I don't want to win the 100-meter because I want all my sisters to win. Come on, man. I'm trying to win. I'm smoking all y'all. Eat my dust. I still love you though.
Right.
But I want the gold medal. That's what I mean. You just want, you want to be the best. And I don't know a word other than competitive that equals to that. Men compete. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand why women feel like no, it's okay to compete. Because on the mic, it's competition. Now, afterwards, we're going to go eat, we're going to drink, we're going to do what we do, we're going to party together because we love each other. But I'm here to win.
But it's dope when you can see the qualities in each other, right? You could be like, yo, you wrecked it. You know what I mean? Like,
we all bring something different.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another thing about it, why it works so well. Everyone has a different style.
That's true.
So when you know your lane,
different style,
you know your lane, and you ride out in your lane, you don't gotta worry about it anyway because you're gonna always win.
Yeah.
So maybe the competitiveness comes when people feel that their style and your style are similar. I would say.
Wow.
You know, because ultimately I'm trying to outdo myself. I don't think I've ever gotten on a track and said, I'm gonna smoke this bitch.
Yeah.
But I don't think like that. I'm like, nah. How can I outdo what I did the last time?
Yeah. I could dig it. I could relate to that. And I would say even for me, when I do interviews, like, I try not to listen.
I do that with dudes though. When I'm on tracks with men, I'm trying to smoke all of them.
Dope. Well, there's different strategies, right? You gotta use different strategies for different situations, you know.
Right.
So there's another song on the Molotov album called In It, Never Of It. One of my favorite tracks on that album. I think it features C. Ray's Walls and Book Brown.
And Eagle Nebula, yes.
Eagle Nebula, yep.
Yep.
Two other sisters that I definitely like their music as well. You let me go to the line. I think I wrote it here just so I could reference it. You say on that, outside of illusion, this dimension is confusing. That's why I'm choosing to listen to my heart. A thinking woman's tool. Spent all of them years in school, got me further from the jewel. The truth is, I am all that exists, condensed in this vessel. And then you go further on to say, you become what you think. Get your mind right, baby. Because insight 2020, life be crazy. Now, I wanted to quote that because there's a particular line in there that really stands out, where you say, spent all of them years in school, got me further from the jewel. Expound on what you meant by that line.
There's so much emphasis that's placed on higher education, and a lot of people go to college and they get degrees and things that they cannot get jobs in after they leave school. They have all this debt, and a lot of the stuff that we're taught is not even, outside of like math and science, is not even accurate, especially history, specifically history. I was a sociology major, so I'm taking anthropology classes. I'm doing this, and I'm like, yo, this is some of this bullshit. And I'm here and I'm making good grades, but I'm conflicted because a lot of the things that are being told to me in class conflicts with things I've studied in other books that I've read.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then when these things are brought up in class, everybody's looking, they blank staring.
Right.
But I think that we forget to think for ourselves and listen to our intuition, or that little ID always called it his little black man. So I got that from my little black woman, like that little voice inside of you. Mm-hmm. There's so much emphasis placed on looking outside of you for answers.
Right.
Like you can have all this book knowledge and still not know anything, and that's really what that brought me right back. Noble Drew at least said we go around our elbow to get to our thumb. Thumb is right here, but we'll take the long way and get to it.
Right. Well said. Fast forward to 2020, you have this new maxi single project with Crazy DJ Bazarro. Shout out to Bazarro again.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how you and Bazarro came to collaborate.
So Bazarro and I met at A3C in 2014. I think we were like the Beat Miners were DJing, and we met like in that room where where Beat Miners Radio was. Okay. And we were talking, and he's like, yo, I think you're really dope. I want to work with you. I'm like, well, look, I want to beat with this sample. Like, I need you to take this sound bite of Guru saying, and no way you'll ever make it. Come with that weak shit or break kids. I'm like, I need that. And it took maybe a year or two, and he made the beat.
Wow.
And he sent it to me. And I was like, wow, it's dope. But I was in a transition to where I wasn't really doing music. So I sat on the beat for maybe like a year, almost 2 years. And I finally finished writing to that song like 2017. And that first song that we did together, Weak Shit, that was the song. And then he sent me the beat for Pandora. That would be Pandora.
Yes, I remember.
And he sent me the song that would be No Doubts.
Wow.
And so No Doubts is an old song.
So they were all recorded around that same time?
Those three songs were.
Okay.
And then he sent me some other beats, and I recorded Mother's Milk and Barbarella maybe a year later.
Okay.
And I wasn't happy with those two songs initially. Like, I recorded Mother's Milk twice. I recorded and rewrote parts of Barbarella later twice. Still wasn't happy.
Yeah.
So we were working on a project.
So fresh. That's my favorite joint right there. Like, Mother's Milk. Like it actually represents what the song is about.
Yeah. And you know, I changed the
represents-
name. The original name was The Truth. And I'm like, you know what? There's a million songs called The Truth. What am I really doing in this song? And I'm like, oh, Mother's Milk, work.
Wow. Dope.
You know, sometimes we overthink.
Yes.
But so that's how that happened, because we were in the middle of working on a project, you know, and I just was at an impasse. Like, I was not happy with those two songs. And then Baz, you know, he was sending me beats, but I wasn't connecting with any of them. I was like, you know, maybe we should just like pause, just take a minute, and then, you know, life continued to life. And here we are, you know, 2 years later. Baz hit me up like March, April, like, yo, I was listening to those sessions, because I had posted something on Instagram and it made him go, you know, pull the sessions up, and he's like, yo, these songs are really dope, Star.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, send them to me. Let me listen to them. And I was like, dang, he's right. They are. Like, they aged well.
Wow.
And so we decided to put them out. And then everything, you know, the thing, you know, all of the stuff with George Floyd and the riots and everything. So we had decided to put the songs out like at least a month prior to that.
Right.
So even with Mother's Milk mirroring what was going on in the world, but the song was written in 2017, 2018.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it just speaks to how long we've been dealing with this crap.
Right. And that absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like hip hop has been, you know, I was talking to my co-host A-Level the other day, and we were just talking about, like, it seems like since the inception of hip hop, like, as far as we know it, as far as lyrics, there's always been songs about protesting, like, police brutality.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's going all the way back, you know, like, it's crazy when you think about it. Now, I like the connection that you and Bazarro got going on. Is there any potential that you guys will actually do a full project together?
After the response that we've gotten, I mean, I definitely told him, I said, we need to get at least 5 or 6 more joints, and then just put everything together and release it, you know, as a full-length album. Do vinyl, because everybody wants vinyl.
Yeah.
Everybody wants vinyl. Vinyl is very expensive.
Yeah.
See, that's the downside of not being signed to a label, when you got to pay for production.
Right.
Vinyl is.
Yeah, that's the other. Yeah.
Woo!
But it's like the vinyl heads, you know. I'm sure, like, but your fan base is probably full of.
Yeah, and I mean, I respect it. You know what I mean? So I definitely do want to make anything going forward available in vinyl. I do, because I understand the importance of it. You know, vinyl that's liquid melanin. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's why they got us away from records. That's why they got us away from records, because of that. You know, when you go get away from the analog and you get into the digital, the digital takes the soul out.
That's
so
deep.
You know, the records are literally, you know, like melanin.
Wow, I never thought about it from
soul.
That makes sense.
Yeah, the soul.
Ooh, stop, you deep
popcorn.
with it. Yeah. Wow. All right.
But think about it now. I mean,
no, I'm definitely.
When you digitize it, you take the soul out of it.
That is true. The soul, that warm
sound.
Because
that's what when you put on a vinyl record, I go back to my mother lighting her strawberry incense cones and cleaning, you know, and just the covers and the artwork and how dope. I would just look at album covers all day as a kid.
Yeah.
It's
atmospheric.
Yeah.
It's like it's atmospheric. Like you're not plugged into a headphone where you're in your little zone, you know.
Right.
Like you're right. I remember growing up listening to vinyl, and it filled up the whole room. And like you said, the covers, you got a chance. The big covers, you're looking through it, you're paying attention. Yeah. I get it. It makes sense.
It was an experience. I mean, I know every generation has their thing, but I'm just so glad that I grew up when I grew up.
Right.
I really am. I wouldn't have wanted to live in any other time.
You know, I'm gonna go back to this term you were using earlier, right? And it's funny that you started using this term, because I was like, I got a question on this. So it only makes sense. on Mother's Milk, you talk you reference, is you conscious or woke, right?
Right.
So
Oh yeah.
I come back there.
Is you woke or is you conscious?
Yeah, is you woke or you conscious?
Okay, so everybody knows the joke with Birdman when he went up to the Breakfast Club show, and he was like, "We finished or y'all done?"
Right. Oh, that was your play on it.
Right. But also, there's a difference between being woke and being conscious. Prior to this whole woke, because now it's, see, let me tell you something. Being conscious wasn't cool in the 80s and 90s. It wasn't cool. It was something that you took, you took a lot of flack for. We were the conspiracy theorists.
I think still to this day that happens.
Right.
But it's more.
But woke is more palatable to say that you're woke.
Yeah, it's taking on a whole lifestyle.
But the consciousness movement that was going on in the 90s, in the early 2000s, you had brothers like Phil Valentine and Brother Panic and Seer the Duke of Tears, and who else did we have back then? The brother Delbert Blair, and there's so many people. Even Dr. Africa was part of that. Queen Afua, Jewel Pookrum, Dick Gregory. Yes. This is the original. And I know there's people who I'm not saying, Steve Coakley, Bobby Hemmett. So that was some really powerful information. And for me to be just seeing the things that we were made, kind of, y'all, word, that's what you believe. Okay. Like, those of us who read Behold the Pale Horse.
You believe in that, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then how we were written off, or, our sanity was questioned and whatnot. But if you look at the world now, a lot of that stuff we were studying is coming to pass. So it's popping out. They can't keep it concealed anymore. But that consciousness movement, again, that's the same energy that turned my lights on. And so that was the movement,
right,
in terms of like paradigm shifting in the 90s and in the early 2000 era, because a lot of that information, you had to actually study, you had to read books, you had to do real research. You couldn't just go to YouTube, and that's the epitome of wokeness to me, is the people who get all the information from a YouTube video, and they haven't ever cracked a book. I used to, it's just, I remember like, and I didn't think twice about it, going to buy books. Like if I wanted to know something about herbs, I would have to go and get this herb book and that herb book, and then cross-reference with that.
Open that
if
book.
I wanted to know about this thing, I would have to go and read this book and that book. You actually had to read.
Yeah.
You had to, you actually really had to read. You had to have books.
Yeah.
You had to do research. And, the modern conveniences are helpful, but the scholarship is important. Because I see a lot of these young scholars, these young people, and they have the fire and they have the passion, but they don't have the scholarship. I mean, if I'm not even like on it like I used to be, but if I can listen to your build and you said 3 or 4 erroneous things in 10 or 15 minutes, you need to step your scholarship up. Because I'm not even trying to chop it down, and I'm able to chop it down just because of the knowledge base that I have.
Right. What do you think gets, so when I think about this term woke as you just defined it, which makes perfect sense, what do you think gets in the way of the woke person? I'm tripping up over my words. What do you think gets in the way of the woke person, or the person that's conscious from becoming active, right? So the consciousness then activates into some type of action that's progressive towards change.
Because the checks and balances aren't there. I mean, you can just say something and you don't have to back it up.
Okay.
So I think that it's a lot of again, things change and things evolve. So now, and not all people who are woke don't have scholars. See, this is why I don't like doing the either or, because that just the duality thing is so third dimension, and we really are moving beyond 3D and into 5D to where it isn't even an either or type of situation, which is also going to scramble a lot of people's brains, because everybody's like, oh, it's either good or bad, it's either right or wrong, it's either left or right, and I'm like, none of that even exists when you get you see what I'm saying? So it's levels. It's levels upon levels upon levels, and a lot of people are rooted and stuck in that good or bad, light or dark. No, it's all one. It's just the frequency. Right. So I think it's the application, because you can read all the books, but if you haven't applied any of what you've read, then you don't know it. You don't understand it. You have to put it to work. And I think that's what happens. That people are not, are not being put in positions where they actually have to show and prove, as the guys on earth would say.
Indeed.
Wow. Because it's really, it's easy. Like I said, it's easy to dress, to dress a certain way and, become a vegan and do all the things, all the stereotypical things that are said, or that people who are conscious do. People think that that's what makes you conscious, and that's not it.
Yeah.
None of, but if you are conscious, you probably will do these things.
Yeah. How'd you go through, because you spoke earlier about going through different stages, right? How'd you go through these different stages, of different schools of thought, right? And come out where you're like, I feel like what you've experienced kind of like are just like pieces of you now, right? And it's formed this whole new person now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how is that manifested to the person you are now?
Okay, so with everything that I've dealt with, something spoke to me. So just like with rhyming, when they told me you're not a real MC if you don't rhyme off the top of your head, I'm like, well, I don't want to be a poser. I'm not going to be fake. I'm not going to be fronting. I'm not going to be phony. If this is what it takes to be a real MC, then this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to know as much as I can know about the culture. I'm going to immerse myself in it. I'm going to live it. I'm going to do my history. I'm a researcher. I'm a scientist. Like, that's my nature. So if I'm going to deal with something, I'm going to get all the way into it. I don't want to sit on the sideline in the periphery. I want to know. I want to have the full experience. So when I'm drawn to something, I completely immerse myself in it, because how else am I going to learn? How else are you going to learn if you don't apply?
Yeah.
So that's why when I say everything that I have, it's like, well, dang, how can she? And I know it's like, a woman from Memphis, Tennessee, that was a Nia Biggie Rasta. Like, how does that happen?
Right.
She was baptized in the Orthodox Church, and she's a Moor. And how did it? But
I'm more interested to see how you kept going from one to the next to the next.
Because something I didn't have, I was still something else I needed. Even with what I got from those things, that wasn't it. Some of them I had a revelation. I mean, I know when I was Rasta, I was meditating one day, and Haile Selassie came to me in the meditation and was like, stop worshiping me.
Whoa.
So what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
And that's a very personal thing that I don't share with everybody, but I was sitting and, I was meditating, because it was something that I was feeling torn. And he came to me in a meditation, and he was like, this is not what you need to be doing.
Wow.
You just, don't worship me, because you and I are the same.
You're Pisces, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're tapped in.
I mean, Haile Selassie come to you and be like, stop worshiping me, son. Don't do it.
That's amazing.
That's my personal revelation.
Right. Of course.
So for me and the mission that I have, he's like, nah, you good. Like, you got what you needed.
Wow.
So that is always going to be a piece of me. forever, because I learned a lot of valuable lessons in that school. But the where I was with it, it didn't have everything that I needed to continue evolving.
Got it. How have you been able to balance motherhood, a day job, and your music career and still be successful in taking care of all three?
Well, I mean, at different intervals, it was very difficult when my son was younger. And that is really what prompted me to take that break that I took. Because with music, I mean, you have to really, really hit whatever it is that you hit to be able to sustain and take care of your family off of it. And that wasn't happening for me. So I had to make a decision. You know, I was like, you know, I need to make more money, and this hustling with the music is not working. I have a certain way that I want to live, and I'm going to have to find another outlet. So when I got the job, I got a federal government job. And it took time for me to work up to where I'm actually like, you know, a career, and I'm, you know, got the pension and all the fringe benefits, but it took me almost 5 years to get there.
Wow.
So, but you know, the long term there, as far as benefits and things like that, I was like, this would be great for me having a child. And I know that at least certain things I will be able to, you know, rely on, and I won't have to worry. And then I can go back to doing the music because I have the foundation now.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you get comfortable sometimes. Like, hey, that check's coming every 2 weeks, so do I really need to go write that verse tonight? I'm gonna get paid anyway next Friday. So to a degree, there's been different points. Now that my son is getting older, I can kind of get back into the music with a little bit less limitations.
Right.
You know, just because you don't want to put the music before your children. And that's a thing that I don't know how many men have to face a decision like that, but I feel like that may be a reason too why more women aren't further with the music, because they've had to choose between being a mother, a wife, or being an artist. The music business is not set up for women who value their family more than the music.
Yeah.
Because the business makes you choose. It's going to be a family or it's going to be this. So being an independent artist, you definitely have way more control. But on a mainstream level, I was really shocked to see, I don't really want to deviate the conversation, but it's relevant. When Cardi had that baby at the height of her career, but she kept going. And see, Lauren had a baby and Lauren stopped. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, to her, motherhood was the choice that she made.
Yeah.
And that's a huge decision to have to choose.
Yeah.
You know? So I was very shocked to see that, you know, see the sister have to go ahead and go through and have the baby. And she still maintained the career.
Wow. Which makes me,
because I mean, that's not usually always the case. To be able to bounce right back and keep going. So, but it's not, and I figured that out a long time ago. You know, you will have to choose at some point. And I feel like women are the ones that have to make that choice more than men do, and that's just what it is.
No, it makes perfect sense, and it gives me a lot more appreciation and respect for you. You know, because like I said, you even though you haven't put out a lot of projects, you've still been out there. And I could only imagine just even to keep up by doing the features and, you know, being visible, that's a challenge too.
It can be.
Yeah. When did you get to the place where you was like, you know what? I'm gonna go this I don't know, this traditional job route, right? I don't know how to say, or 9-to-5 route, or when did you was like, you know what? It might take me a little time. Like, I got to give it to you. Like, it took you, you said you took you about 5 years to find your foot in this, you know, in as far as your career, the traditional route. Right. But when did you say, like, when did it hit you, like, you know what? I really got to take my time with this and focus on something that's going to be sustainable for my child?
Well, I mean, I'm a solo, I'm a single woman co-parenting with
that's
the father of, like, I don't want to say I'm a single mother. I'm a single woman co-parenting my child.
Right.
And, there were situations where I had to carry more of the weight just because of some things that were going on that were out of the control, that were out of our control. Mm-hmm. Right. And so even if that wasn't the case, I feel as an independent person, I don't ever want to be 100% reliant on anyone else, because I did do that. And I know there's a lot of people that say that they want to be in a situation where everything's paid for and they're being kept. You have to give up something in those situations. You're not getting taken care of and not having to do something. You know what I mean? And I felt like, because I was living this, I'm stay-at-home mother, wife, whatever the case may be, I gave up my independence. I gave up a lot of my independence. And I didn't ever want to be in a situation like that again, because to recover from being in a situation like that, it takes a very long time to recover from giving up your independence. It can.
Wow.
Like when you just put all your eggs in a particular basket and then that basket is knocked over and all the eggs break, and then you have no eggs and no basket. So that is why I did that, because I knew that in the long run, things, the health insurance benefits and just, the other things that come with that, I knew that would I just want to make sure that my son was okay no matter what happened.
Yeah. And that's real, because I don't think I feel like even like with social media and stuff, a lot of us just naturally show the good outcomes, right? We don't really show. I think it's normal for most of us to do that, not to show the challenge.
A highlight reel.
Yeah, it's like a highlight reel of what's. It's so funny though, because this morning I seen you post when you were helping to promote this interview tonight. You were like, I'm at work trying to promote. I was like, that was real.
And I have to be very careful of how I say things because I people perceive things based on how they see things. Yeah. So it's hard for me to be at work and then be trying to do the other stuff because I'm in a mail truck all day. So I gotta anytime I get a chance to stop, it's just I don't get to have the sit down time until after I leave work. But if I know that there's something that needs to be promoted, I don't want to wait until I get off work at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock to promote it. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I may not put all the details. That's the thing that, I'm going to forget to tag people sometimes. I'm not going to add. And I know that's like a big thing with social media, but that drives me crazy. Like if I posted this video before and this person directed it, do I have to tag his name every time I post a video?
I hear you. Wow.
And I just, see, that's a social media, though, that's a skill set. Like, I mean, people should get paid to run social media pages. Yeah. For people who don't want to. Because that is a skill set. It really is. Yeah. I'm a 70s baby. So I'm like, how y'all do that? What's this? How are they doing that? How did they go in that? Oh, that's Photoshop? Oh, okay. I was leaving high school and they were just starting to make like the computer classes part of the curriculum. So I didn't even, my son grew up on a computer. You know, my son can type QWERTY. And I'm like, how did you learn how to type QWERTY? I can't even type QWERTY. What happened? Oh, my bad. Uh-oh, I hit something. Hold on. What happened?
Is that me or you? Okay.
What happened?
Is that you?
Happened?
I don't hear it too much on my end. I mean, no worries. We about to close out anyway, but it's gone now.
Oh, is that Zoom doing that? Oh, that's not me. I didn't do that. Okay. Music, where'd the music come from?
I'm definitely not playing music, so.
Hold on.
Let me see if it's me. Maybe it's me. Let me check. I don't think I'm playing music though. Hold on.
Oh. All right. I don't know what that was about.
Maybe that was me.
Why can't no? That was actually, I don't know what happened. I think my thumb hit. How do I?
Okay.
How do I get back to you?
No, you're on me. I see you. Can you see me?
I can't see you though, so I'm thinking, what did I do wrong?
Oh,
I told you, look, I was talking about how I'm not computer literate.
Don't worry about it. I can see you and I'm getting you, so don't even worry. Just listen to me.
I'm like, that was proof of my computer illiteracy.
The computer did go in and out a little bit. I was trying to figure out what
hit. You know what I did? My thumb hit. I was talking and my hand hit.
Okay, no worries.
Cool.
You good?
Okay.
You good?
See, that was look at that was proof. I told you, yeah. So, but I'm being real, and I know that a lot of people, again, only do the. You gotta be real though, like y'all. Right. I don't have a problem telling somebody I don't do this particular thing well, or I have to have, because I get overwhelmed, right, energetically when a lot of things are coming at once. I get my anxiety flares a little bit, so I have to. I want to make sure that I can do everything the way and give everything the attention that it deserves. But we made it happen, so that's the most important thing. But I was just like, look, because I knew I left some things out. That's why I was like, and I just put, hey, if you're around tonight, join me, because I just had the picture, and I'm like, don't the picture has all the information, right?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, oh, maybe there's something extra that they need, so that's why I just repost. Reposting is my best friend. I like to repost. So I don't have to say anything. I just repost.
It's repost, yeah.
But see, you hadn't posted yet, so that's what. And I was like, dang, I felt bad.
Okay.
I guess I could have kept that. I could have kept that in my head. I could have. I think my friend said that's being passive aggressive.
Nah, you good. I saw when you posted it the first time. But I want to, before I close out, I just had this one last question. I got to say, it was definitely a pleasure talking to you today. I thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you. This was really good for me too. This has been I don't think I've ever had an interview this in depth. This was a really good one. Probably one of my favorites that I've ever done.
Wow. That's a pleasure to hear.
Yeah.
My last question to you is, what position must a woman in hip hop be in order for hip hop to thrive in its most respectful and glorious form? So in terms of the presence and the representation of the woman in hip hop, what position must a woman be in for hip hop to really thrive in its most respectful and glorious form?
I think that if we continue how we're going now, I feel like we will get there. See, the thing is, there are so many women that rhyme that are giving us so many different aspects to femininity, to womanhood. For whatever reason, all of those facets are not getting the attention and the light. I think that the more diverse the representation is, we're gonna naturally have no choice but to go with the representation and go with the, you know, go with the evolution, because we are evolving.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so at a certain point, people are gonna really get tired of certain things, and they're not gonna want to hear it anymore. Like when a lot of these artists started doing these protest records, who you had never heard speak before, I'm like, oh, so y'all can talk about other stuff. Okay. And see, my thing is, I don't really judge how a person chooses to artistically express themselves in terms of their content. I'm really more of a, does your music sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Is a bigger concern for me, because I don't expect everybody to rap about the stuff I rap about. I actually don't want that. I like to listen to different things. I don't want everyone to be rapping about the same thing. I don't. And this is my personal thing. I'm really big on artistic freedom, you know, freedom of expression. If you don't like it, don't listen. That's me. But is the quality of the music that you are putting out, does it sound good?
Right.
Are the beats good? Is it mixed well? Is it mastered well? Are you in the pocket? Are you trying to cram 17 words where there's only space for 10? And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bigger issue to me, the quality of the music.
Mm-hmm.
The quality of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel the more we embrace the quality and the diversity, if people are seeing that having the different aspects of themselves,
I'm sorry.
I think that the more diversity an artist has, or the more that they're embraced when they're doing different things. Like, I don't want to be in a box either. I don't want people to only allow me to make conscious, quote unquote, conscious music. Although everything I'm going to do is going to have consciousness in it, because that's how I think. Right. But I also like to have fun. You know, I also have, you know, I think another thing that trips people is like that, you know, they have this misconception that being conscious, or, you know, being awake and aware means that you don't have fun, you don't laugh, you don't crack jokes, you don't have sex, you know, you don't go to parties, you don't smile. I think that's such a very limiting and linear way of thinking, you know. It is.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, I've worked a lot on kind of getting out of this box.
Right.
That people have tried to put me in, because it makes them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
But I think the more that we evolve, the music is gonna, and the music is evolving, and there's so many more women right now putting out good quality, diverse music. You know. So.
Wow.
Yeah, because I think that, and then two men are gonna have to support it and embrace it.
That's true.
I mean, it's here. I don't really think it's so much what else do women need to do. I think we're doing enough. I think
it's funny you said that, because I'm also asking the question as to like what men need to do, right? What
support us.
You need to be, yeah.
Support us, and not just because you want to sleep with us, or not because you think we're pretty. You know, support us when our music is good. Producers, OGs who have platforms, who only work with men that are artists for whatever nepotism or whatever reason. Give someone you don't have a personal connection to that actually makes good music a chance. That's what Chuck D did.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a personal relationship with Chuck D. I've met Chuck one time. He's a legitimate and sincere fan of mine. All that stuff he's doing, he really fucks with that record.
Yeah.
He's a fan. He's like, I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I have no ulterior motive.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Word. That's
I
so
mean,
true.
that couldn't have been a more perfect. Yeah, Chuck D is. I mean, he blowing me up like I'm his artist.
Yeah, I saw your post. You've been playing it on his station, right?
That's his song of
yeah.
the summer. He's celebrating his birthday to that song.
Yo, that's dope. That's dope. That is so
He
dope.
said he almost missed the flight listening to Barbarella. He's like, fuck it, I missed the flight. I couldn't get out the car. When he said, y'all almost cried watching it. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
The reason why I brought that up too, because there's a saying that a nation is only as successful as how it treats its women.
Right.
And if I had to compare hip hop to a nation, I feel like, that's a worthy question. Like, at what point, where does the woman have to be within hip hop for us to really get this thing where it needs to be, right? Like in terms of the level of success or the level of respect that I feel like hip hop is still growing.
Right.
Even though it has its foundation that is pretty strong, right? But I feel like we still got some ways to go in terms of respect overall,
But art imitates life. So I think the more
true.
people get their self, again, they get their self, because again, I've always had a lot of support from men, that I've worked with, and just men, and my fan base is largely male. So I could never say that I'm not being supported. I mean, am I supported to the level where I'm able to live off of my music? No. But there's a lot of other factors involved in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at this point, the boys club is gonna have to go, and that's why the FEMCEE thing to some women is damaging and detrimental, because if you can make us a female MC, then some feel like they don't have to respect us with the same level of respect as, like we're not your equal because we're female MCs.
Yeah.
But a dope MC is a dope MC with or without a record deal. All can see.
Wow. I'll say for the record, Star, like, I've never saw you in that way. Even though I know you're a female MC, like you
I'm a woman that's an MC.
A woman that raps, right? A woman that MCs. I've never saw you in that way because you just bring it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I started off by talking about how dense your lyrics is. Like, that's all you. You know what I mean? That represents you. And I think when you talk about the different stages of experience that you've been through, right? The different areas of knowledge that you've gained, it just shows that you've always been true to you. And that
yes,
is exemplified in your music.
Absolutely.
So I think whenever you're true to you, you always, it's like what you were saying earlier about this whole idea of like, you only competed against yourself. But that's because you're being true to you, right? You're looking for the best in you.
Right.
So that makes sense as to why I feel like I don't see you as just a female MC or a female that MCs. You're just dope. It's like you say, still dope,
Right.
So it was a pleasure again, Star. I really had a great time. I definitely hope that we could continue another conversation at a different time. Hopefully when new projects come out. Any things people need to know about music for you or career moves for you that they should be aware of in the coming future?
Right now, they need to just go to Bandcamp or Tidal or iTunes or Google Play and get No Doubt's maxi single, get the Pandora Weak Shit, get Mother Nature with a Molotov, get Almost Never Was, get That Was You, get Respect Due, go to the YouTube, watch the videos, watch the performances, watch the interviews. And I mean, I have some things, but they're like, I don't want to announce stuff until it's like all mixed, mastered, ready. But there are some things coming, some other things. I got a text last night about something I've been working on with one of my favorite producers of all time.
Okay.
And he's finally mixing.
Wow.
This that we did. So I'm really excited about that.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think it's taking you so long? Like 2012 has been a little while from now. Like, why is it taking so long for us to get a whole full length from you?
You know, that's a good question. I mean, like I said, I've thrown some singles out there. I did, you know, the restyles with respect to. I want to do a one producer project.
Okay.
And I have been having a time finding that one producer that I completely 110,000% lock in with.
Okay.
I think Baz, what I've done with Baz is the closest to that I've gotten, but Baz also works with a lot of other artists. Like I want to have like a producer, like you're not like we locking in, we about to be Guru and Premier. I mean, I want to do something on that level.
That's dope.
And I just feel like the level, like the cohesiveness that would come. I need that. I need to challenge myself in that way to do something completely conceptual. I mean, Mother Nature with a Molotov, it was conceptual.
Yeah.
But I want to
I totally understand what you mean.
I want to top that.
I totally understand.
Yeah, I want to top that. I definitely want my Guru Premier thing. I want that.
Listen, if I know there's some producers out there, if it hits me, right?
And I don't even necessarily want the ones that everybody's working with either.
Right.
But I want a big. I feel like I've earned like my little list I've always had. I think it's time for me to be able to get my list.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Who would be your list if you had to share?
Who's on my list as far as producers that
Give me like 5 names that you always wanted to do something with, possibly an EP, if not a full length project.
Right. I mean, I Premier definitely.
Okay.
Pete Rock.
Okay.
Well, I can't say some of them because I'm already working with them, but we've only done one song.
Okay.
You know, the Beat Miners.
Wow.
Dungeon Family. I really Organized Noise. I really want to do something with organized. That actually would probably be. Yeah, that's definitely one.
Wow.
That's definitely one. You said 5, right? How many was that? 4?
I think you named about 4. You said Pete. No, you said Premier, Pete, Beat Miners, Organized Noise.
Yeah, that Organized Noise. One more. Damn.
That's a solid list, though.
It only be 5.
All right, name somebody new. Or is there? Or are you not trying to mess with the new?
Huh?
When I say new, more like not golden era.
Let me think of somebody new. You know, Georgia and Muldrow.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Georgia and I would love to do something with her. Yeah.
Yo, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. She's so dope on so many levels, and it's like there's a mutual respect there already.
You never worked with her before? You've never?
I haven't.
That's crazy.
But we need to put that into the universe. You know, I think too, doing stuff from a distance. Like if I worked with her, I would want to be there physically.
Oh yeah,
with her.
yeah.
And I think too, for me, because most of the people that I work with are not in Georgia. Like if I was in New York, I think I would have way more music done.
Yeah.
I really do. Just because of my network that I have there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things I miss out on because I'm here. So many opportunities that because I'm physically not there.
Yeah.
You know, even though you can send stuff through the mail, it's nothing like that synergy.
What about Madlib?
Oh yeah, I would love to work with him.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and then of course Doom. I mean, but these,
of course, right? Like,
but I mean that one don't really count. But yeah, Madlib would be really dope too. And I feel like me and him talked about that, but then he's a very hard person to get in touch with. So like, oh yeah, Star, whatever beats you want, you got them. But then it's like, all right, well,
you want that experience, like,
but he's gonna mail you the CD, like,
right.
Like he's that on that level, like, and someone else is gonna mail it to you for him.
Right.
Because he's not even, Yeah, that dude's bugged out, but I love him.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah, that would be.
I like the Georgia vibe. I like the Georgia vibe.
I think the thing with Georgia Ann would be it.
And
I know Nebula did a project with her.
Yeah.
That's how I found out about Eagle, and then we became friends, and we met, and we hung out, and just us, my heart right there. So yeah, but I would love to see what me and Georgia came up with.
Yeah. I got so much love for Georgia, man. When I first started doing these interviews on Out the Box TV, she was one of the first interviews I did. And then I did another one with her. It's like probably one of the most longest interviews you'll see with Georgia out on YouTube. And her spirit is just so like down to earth.
Man. Oh, you know who her mother is? Like, I mean,
Ricky,
it's in the blood. Her mother is like this amazing. Yeah, she put me on to her mom. Like, I didn't subscribe to her mom's newsletter. Like, I'm trying to be down with Ricky Myers, man. Like, she's amazing. Like I said, some people are put here for, and I feel like I definitely feel like I was put here to do the music, but there's always been some kind of obstacle, and sometimes I put the obstacle there, but I still keep persevering. So like maybe that's the challenge. Like you know.
Wow.
But
I'm gonna look for that. I'm gonna be like, when it does come through with any of those artists, I'm gonna be, cheering you on from the sideline. That's what's up. And hopefully we get an interview with you when you always good for another interview. Word up. Listen, Star, thank you so much again. I wish you all the best and success in your continued career. Just always know you got a place here whenever you want to talk about any new projects or any new movements coming out in your career, man. I'm
Thank you. Yeah, because it's been a long time coming, I feel, because I think you reached out to me.
I did a review on Molotov like years ago when it came out.
Okay.
But I've always been kind of like, finally, it's so funny. I interviewed StaHHr the other day, who just dropped the album with Apollo Brown. That's another dope producer too.
I like her. I like her a lot. She's dope.
And it dawned on me when I was interviewing her, I was like, it's only like, not by choice, but like, I haven't done much interviews with like MCs who are women.
Good. Look at you learning.
I know. I'm
saying
learning.
I got you. MC.
You got that. And it was crazy because like I interviewed Rhapsody. Rhapsody was the first woman MC that I actually interviewed, and then StaHHr the other day, and then now you. So I made a commitment mentally that I was like, before this year is out, I'm gonna make sure I reach out to more sisters.
If we balance it out, we'll be good.
Yeah. But it wasn't by choice. Like it wasn't like it just didn't manifest like that, Right. But now I'm being more conscious and more deliberate about it. So
good.
As that's always,
growth. And we love that. We love growth.
Yeah.
We love evolution. That's why we're here to evolve.
Yeah. So thank you so much again. It was a pleasure.
Likewise. Ooh, I'm like, yes. We've been here, like 2 hours?
Right. So that's it, man. I want to shout out to everybody that's been tuning in. I see we got a lot of people. Bazarro. Who else is here? I know A-Level was on the chat.
Hi, everyone.
Shadina was on the chat.
Oh, Shadina was up.
Yeah. A lot of people here, man. Patrick, a lot of people been.
I guess if I had been able to see the chat room, I would have been really distracted.
Yeah, so scientific. Shout out. Said peace, goddess.
Peace.
Word up. So are we gonna have this show up later on in the week? I'm gonna keep it up for a little bit for y'all to see on YouTube. But thank you for all those who tuned in live, and go make sure y'all get that new. If you like what you hear, check out, StaHHr's new music, man. The No Doubt maxi single.
No Doubt.
EP early.
I'm working on a video for that, actually.
Okay.
For No Doubts and Barbarella. So we trying to get those out so we can keep riding this momentum.
Wonderful. All right, Star. Again, it was a pleasure. You have a great night.
You too.
We'll keep connected. And
yes,
just like that, Yep. And
Thank
make
you.
sure y'all check out our podcast. We got a podcast that is every Friday. This interview will be a part of that. It's on Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You know, you could just Google Out the Box Talks or just search for Out the Box Talks in those podcast platforms. Or you can just go to our website, outtheboxmedia.com. And what's your website, Star, that they can find you on?
StaHHr Music, music.com. And then I'm Star on all social media platforms. StaHHr.
Dope. All right, so make sure y'all go check out Star. Once again, thank y'all for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode. Peace.